Well, how did I start? Well, I started by accident really. I ended up buying an off-roader off a mate who was selling it and thought, oh yeah, make a bit of money out of that maybe. Then ended up going to play days with it and realised I actually quite enjoyed it. So in the end, started looking at other things. Play days got boring. After doing 12 in a year, what can we do? I found winch challenging and thought, oh, this is good. So we went and watched a few winch challenges with the Viking Club at the time, and then started building an off-roader. And then in the end, got a bit frustrated and bored of waiting, and I got left some money with my granddad when he passed away, and found one for sale, Ben Murphy's old truck, on eBay. Went and had a look, bought that, and it all sort of went from there really. So after the first 2 years of this was Ben's truck scenario, it's we sort of modified it and went from there, and I think that was 2011, and now we're where we are now really. So after multiple years of winch changing, we are now doing speed events. So things have progressed from where we started to where we are now.
And what would be your best advice for someone wanting to start out?
Go and watch. If you're interested, go and watch, talk to the guys that are doing it, get some ideas. You haven't got to spend a fortune. Like the dirt events that we're doing at the moment, or just started doing, they have a really sort of low entry. You can buy a really cheap sort of chimney or something like that, do the basic class. You'd have a car for less than £2 grand, you'd be racing. That's just a relatively cheap way of getting into it, rather than the £100 car that we're racing. Not yet, but we're working on it. What diffs do I run? Well, at the moment I'm running Y61 diffs, but they're converted to 35 spline. So we're running bigger shafts, but Nissan diffs. But soon to be changed because we keep breaking them, funnily enough. But we're going more horsepower too, so it was the logical step to change the diffs, change the axles and go more horsepower. Car, that's the $1 million question, isn't it? Lots of talk about the new car, been going a long time. Well, hopefully, I say hopefully, touching everything crossed, this year. Still trying to get the ducks in a row. It's been taking a long time for various reasons, which I can't really go into now. But yeah, it's going to be a monster. Lots of changes along the way due to the timescales. And other financial commitments. But yeah, hopefully this year it's going to be a weapon, and I'm as excited as everybody else, I think. So come on, Dan, let's final push, let's do it. Not really, because we don't want to go back to a TGV, which we still had issues with that. We rebuilt that twice. So we like the V8. LSs are great, easy to work on, simple, straightforward. Admittedly, the first V8 was a bit of a chore, but it was a great engine. But in the end, we just couldn't make it work, so we're going to stick with the LS for now. Well, we have built a new one because the knob's only 4 years old. People think it's the same car because it looks exactly the same, but it's actually a completely new car. So we've had 2 cars since we've been going. The first one was a winch challenge truck on a chassis, which was Ben Murphy's, like I mentioned earlier. So that was heavily modified as far as we could go, but as events started getting faster and faster, it just wasn't fast enough anymore. Everyone was going to TD5, we were still with the TGV. So we wanted to build something else. We'd hang on a bit of string for long enough, so we wanted to go faster. So hence the Nog was born. We built her in 9 weeks. So yeah, what a weapon she has turned out to be as well. The car does spend a lot of its time in pieces because we do quite a lot of maintenance on our cars. So every event, the cars get checked, stripped, and pretty much fully gone over. So in reality, the cars are only actually together for a relatively short space of time when we're actually using the cars. And as we're a bit lastminute.com, it tends to be a little bit of a last minute rush to get them together before the event. So the reality is they're probably only together for a week or two around events, and then they're in pieces again. So probably 95% of the time they're non-usable. That's a good question. Not done many derps, to be fair, so it's a bit premature to say, but the one we did last, or the end of this year, was fantastic. We did the same venue a year ago. Didn't really enjoy it that much, but we had a few car issues. Now the car's more sorted, and we absolutely loved it, to be fair. So we've signed up for next year to do all 5. So looking forward to that. Multiple disciplines, so it's going to be interesting. Ultra 4, I will miss Ultra 4. I used to love King of Britain. It was my favourite race every year at Walters, but unfortunately we've lost Walters, and unfortunately we've lost King of Britain this year as well. So I do hope that they can come back, because I love a long endurance race. So we'll have to see, but in short, yeah, we'll miss Ultra 4, but I'm looking forward to do it. Well, Mr. Jones, you've picked a very random question, so I just thought we'd throw it in at the end. Having spoken to someone who understands the question, Google, they say it takes more than 1,000, but there's lots of variables: the size of the lion, the size of the chickens, how old the lion is, whether it's a male lion. So we're going with over 1,000. I hope that answers your question.